So, one thing I was thinking before we really get started was I think we should do our health ourselves. You know how the computer or the website generates it for us?
Yeah, because the one on the website says 12 hit points, but my paper says 11.
Well, what I was thinking was instead we go back and rearrange it and we just roll for our own health. And just each time we'll roll with our same dice. And as you get higher, you're able to roll with more dice, I believe.
Alright, so you'll have to explain the process. I mean, like we're going to have our health change per fight or something?
No, so we're going to go ahead and re-roll our entire character's health. So I'll walk through it with you, and we'll do it with Jeklar too.
Alright.
So, like, my max health is 12 right now. But so it should be much higher because of my classes, technically. I also did learn a couple things. So, you know how we were talking about weapon proficiencies and we were getting +2 when using quarterstaff?
Yeah.
So it turns out +2 is supposed to add to your chance to hit, not your actual damage. So let's say you roll a 15, it should be 17 to hit, and then your damage you would roll like normal. But it also applies your strength modifier. So let's see, Oromis has a strength modifier of 0. Okay, so let's say you had +1. So when you roll, you get a 15. You would add that +1 and your +2 proficiency bonus.
And that's all to hit, right? Not damage.
Yes.
Alright.
So that would likely make it a little easier to hit from now on.
Oh yeah, most definitely with like wolves that need a 13 just to get hit.
Yeah. So are you at the character edit screen?
Yeah.
For your hit dice under your max hit points, tell me what it says.
Alright. What am I looking for again?
Okay, so you want to edit your character, click the little gear beside his name.
Yeah.
And we are going to go to class, and this is where it'll let us determine your health. Mine says my hit dice is 1d6 plus 2d8. And I think that's got to do with me, Jeklar, being part cleric. What does yours say?
It'll be up under hit points, right?
Yeah.
It says hit dice, 1d6 per wizard level, hit points at first level +6 your constitution modifier, hit points at higher levels, 1d6 or 4 plus your constitution modifier per wizard level after first.
Okay, so I know you said a 1d6 plus your constitution. Your constitution's like what? 2, 1, plus 1. So, I say we go ahead and roll these. And yours was 1d6 plus your constitution of 1. Oh, also, your wizard level should be going up too, actually. I learned that when you level up, you get to put 1 point or level into your class. So this should make you a level 2 wizard now.
Yeah, it says character level 2. Yeah.
Okay, it does say wizard level 2. Okay, so cool, you had that part on. So let's go ahead and roll for your hit points and see what we're gonna have for you.
So I need to roll a d6 plus my constitution modifier per wizard level after first.
Yeah, so basically you're gonna roll 2d6 and then plus your 1, I think. That might put you with lower health. Go ahead and roll 3d6 plus 1.
Alright, 3d6s. Ended up getting 2 5s and a 4.
Okay, so that would put your health at 15 then.
Alright, that sounds a lot better than what I had.
Alright, so let's roll for Jeklar. I am supposed to do... Make sure... Nope, that's the wrong dice. 1d6 plus 2d8. I don't know if I'm supposed to do the 1d6 twice because I'm a wizard and I'm second level. Well, I'm only first level wizard. I'm second level cleric, which is why I do 2d6. So never mind. Okay, so 4 plus 4 is 8. Plus 6 would be 14. And then my constitution is probably +1. Let's go check that out. Nope, I don't get anything. So what did I just say my health was? It was 8 plus 6, which was 14, correct?
Fuck, I can't remember, dude.
That's okay. I'm pretty sure it was 14. I accidentally set my health to 2. Alright, there we go. So 14 HP.
Yeah, I went into the manage HP section and I changed it to 15.
Okay, sweet. Alright, so I think that sets us up for that now. I reckon before we get started with the actual adventure, is there anything you want to go over or touch base on?
No, not really. I guess we can go ahead and get into it.
Well, actually, real quick, did you add the 150 experience for the 3 wolves?
No, I haven't.
So if you'd like to go ahead and apply that now.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that.
And you also should add 20 gold that you pulled off of Avalon's body. Your dear, dear friend Avalon.
On my sheet, it says I have 31 gold right now. Just go ahead and add that 20, you said?
Yeah.
All right, let me get my pencil.
Now, I did go through the player's handbook and look at some of the items they have on there, and I have skewed the value of gold. So, like, for example, 20 gold in the D&D world is a whole lot of gold for that guy to just have charged you. With that in mind, I'm thinking I'm probably going to play around with the numbers. Like, if I feel like you've got way more gold than you're originally supposed to have, technically, I'll probably just up the price on the items by however much I think you're over. Not like an unfair manner. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm going to balance it out.
I feel you, bro. I feel you. Go ahead, man.
So you got that experience all covered?
I'm about to add it in now. 150 experience. Apply changes. Alright. Experience has been updated. Now we're ready.
Alright. So where you last left off, you and Jeklar had just been through a pretty rough fight with wolves. It basically left Jeklar on his very last leg. I believe you.
I think we went to like rest after that fight, didn't we?
So you did not rest. You gave Jeklar that potion of healing, and he said, potentially, maybe I won't use this unless I feel we come to the point, because I think we're real close to the village.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys were working your way on going back that way. So we will continue where we left off. You and Jeklar continue traveling through the woods, and as the night goes on, you notice the trees seem to be a lot larger than they were before. You know, where the average tree could be 100 feet, these ones suddenly are 600, 700 feet tall, and they're huge. Like, you could say that they were probably, like, if a tree was 10 foot wide before, suddenly these trees are 30, 40 feet wide. You know, some of them were wider than elephants. All the greenery is really thick. It's so thick, it's overbearing on the road a bit. You know, it's just growing everywhere. Jeklar kind of points it out to you. This forest seems a bit unnaturally grown.
Starting to look like a magical forest.
Perhaps. We shouldn't be quite far off now. I think if we travel far enough, we'll probably, I'd say, get there within an hour or two.
This forest is starting to get pretty dark, though.
You want to just tread along?
Yeah, let's go ahead and tread along.
So you travel for another 30 or 40 minutes, and this forest is just getting bigger and bigger. It's almost unbelievable. You've never seen anything like this in your life. You feel like this is something almost out of a fairy tale story with the way these things look. And you start hearing like a lot of loud noises. What once would be a tiny chirp has turned into a very loud and intense sound. You feel like you can hear animals 10 times more than you ever would have, maybe 100 times. It's just so loud and thick. But as you continue on, I'd say another 15 or so minutes goes by, and out in the distance, far, far down the trail, you can see large orange spots in the distance. Not well enough to tell what it is, considering how thick the forestry is, but you can definitely notice something, and I'd say that would put you probably about 15 more minutes away.
Alright, well, at this point, I need to try and roll a perception check our surroundings. I swear to God, there might be something in this forest about to get us.
Alright, give me that 20.
First roll of the night on a d20. What we getting? Ooh, a fucking 19. Hell yeah.
So we're dirty 23. Alright. As you look around, you can suddenly see, like, it's a bit dark, but you can still see a whole lot of creatures moving around in these woods. And they're so unsizable. Like, where you would normally see a tiny little butterfly, you see a butterfly that's like the size of a dog just fluttering around in the woods. You can like see bushes moving from crickets hopping, but these crickets are so large they basically flatten bushes. Nothing around here appears to be normal.
Jeklar, I think this entire forest is magically overgrown. Something's not right here.
He starts looking around. Maybe we'd be best to just make our way there. He eyes to the right and then back to the left. We wouldn't want any surprises.
I'm curious, how many spell slots do I currently have? It says on my paper I haven't used any, but that might be wrong. I know I used the Thunderclap.
You used the Thunderclap? Yeah, just the Thunderclap, I think. I don't recall if you used the Firebolt on the wolf. I just remember you burning the spider's ass. So I think it's just the one spell for now.
Alright, well, let me see. Don't I know Mending? Pretty sure I do. Spells. Yes, I know Mending. Alright. I'm not sure how much mending's gonna work, but I'm gonna mend Jeklar, give him a little heal before we burst off into this forest.
So I don't believe mending will work on a physical being. I believe that's for like repairing items or something. The description says this spell repairs a single break or tear in an object you touch, such as a broken chain link, 2 halves of a broken key, a torn cloak, or a leaking wine skin. As long as the break or tear is no larger than 1 foot in any dimension, you mend it, leaving no trace of the former damage.
Oh, I thought it was a healing spell. My bad, man.
Ah, that's okay. That's okay. The more you know, right?
Yeah, alright. Well, I guess we're gonna trot off into this forest. I mean, I have my dark vision, which gives me 60 feet. And it seems like it's just regular forest creatures at the moment. I'd hate to run across a bear in this forest. Alright, let's roll.
Alright. So you seem to make your way to the center, or the closer to this large orange thing, and you can see at the base of it, there's a large doorway in the front of this orange thing. And as you keep walking closer, it becomes apparent that this is a giant carrot with a home built inside of it. And surrounding it are vines on every side, almost to represent a gate or a fence.
So it's kind of like a fence made of vines and stuff.
Yes.
Hell yeah, sounds dope. You said there's a huge carrot we're walking up on?
Yes.
That's cool. Oh, there's little bunnies inside. Alright, okay, well, I approached the gate. Is there anything I gotta knock on, or I can just walk through it?
You can pretty much walk through it. It's not like actually gated, like there's no opening aside from the carrot right in the middle of the vines.
Alright, so I'm walking up to this carrot, man. Is there a door?
There is a door. It is a wooden door on the front of it.
I'm about to bang on this bitch very loudly. Hear ye, hear ye.
There's silence for a moment, and then you hear a heavy step, followed by another one, and then several. And within a minute, the door slowly creaks open. You see a small man with a bald head poke his head out. He almost resembles a squirrel with the way his teeth stick out in front of him. He pokes his head out the door. Can I help you?
Yes, we would like to seek shelter for the night.
He kind of gives you a weird look, and as he's sitting there thinking about your response, his teeth kind of chatter onto his bottom lip, like ting, 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 ting. And then he stops. Place to sleep. I don't know. We could probably let you stay at the inn, but that'll probably cost you a few bucks.
Where is this inn, kind sir?
Well, I tell you what, you guys can go ahead and take a walk with me, and we'll see how this goes. And he turns and he pushes the door open and begins walking in the opposite direction into the building.
I'm about to have a little optional dialogue. Excuse me, sir, why is your house made of a carrot?
He turns around and puts his hands on his hips. Is that a serious question? Do you know where you're at right now?
Actually, no, I do not.
He shakes his head. This is the Grand Produce Village. People come from miles and miles away to see us.
Oh shit, that would explain things.
He chuckles. So you boys don't know what you gotten yourself into. Well, this is a pretty place right here. It's got its moments of disgust, but it's a pretty nice place. Let me show you around. And so as you step more into this room here, you can see it's a giant carrot, and for the most part it's hollowed out, and they've crafted this into like a welcoming center. You know, they have a table full of a bunch of pamphlets with different pictures of, you know, giant produce. I'm talking giant potatoes, giant heads of lettuce, there's giant carrots, all kinds of greenery. They've got a little sign and book for guests and new visitors in town that you can see on a table. There's just all kinds of little knick-knacky tourist items in here.
This sounds like my kind of place. I don't know.
Mhm.
All right, so I want to ask this dude, how big do the apples get here?
The apples? Well, I'll tell you what, one time I saw an apple that was like, I'd say at least 300 feet tall probably. It was huge, man. We blew it up.
Oh, damn.
I have to show you the little remnants of where it was. It's a pretty interesting situation. We take a lot of pictures over there.
So what makes everything grow so big here?
Well, I tell you what, that's a question nobody seems to really know the answer. But you know, you don't look a gift horse in the mouth. We just enjoy what we can. We have seen better days, but it's, you know, we live on.
Any idea why there's not much produce leaving the village, though?
He looks at you. How do you know that?
Well, that's all the buzz is about in the market from where I'm from.
He kind of looks down. He says, I might not be the right person to talk to about this. I'm just our welcoming wagon, basically. So, let me see if I can't walk you up to a friend of mine, and if he would like to discuss this a little more with you, that'll be between you guys. So he turns, and as y'all walk through this room a little more to the other side of the carrot, and I'm talking this carrot's probably a 40-50 foot giant room in here. Plenty of room for people and tourists and stuff. And y'all walk completely to the opposite side of the carrot, and there's a door, and he pushes it open, and just as the door starts to crack open, you can immediately smell all kinds of food. And as it opens all the way, your eyes are like enriched by like a giant field of huge, massive foods. Every food you could possibly think of that could grow from the ground. We're talking giant berries, plums. You got all your fruits. There's giant bananas. This place is insane.
There must be a beanstalk somewhere around here.
Mm-hmm. As you follow this man out, you can see a whole lot of people gathered around one particular giant potato house. Or it seems like a house at least. There's a whole lot of people gathered around, different races and everything. You know, in the kingdom you are mostly seeing only humans, and this is really the first time you've seen a nice mixed up group of people. You know, you've got a couple elves over there, you've got one little short dwarf. There's a guy who kind of looks like a lizard at a distance. There's all kinds of people surrounding this place, and he turns to you and he says, all right, we're just going to go past this little crowd of people. You know, you want to find out more about your problem? That's what they're dealing with right now. But we're not going to talk to them directly. We're going to go to the big man, so follow me. And he begins leading y'all around the crowd. Everyone in the crowd kind of stops their chatter for a minute and begins eyeing you and Jekyll down for a moment, and then they go back to their discussion. And he starts taking y'all around this giant potato. And as you walk past, you can see massive holes in the side, like giant bites, basically. And he takes y'all a little farther ahead, and there is a giant plum-like house. This one's not quite too massive, though. It's more in the 40 feet tall range, but, it's nothing compared to the giant carrot you were just in. And he walks up to the door, does a little tap on it, and this man opens the door. He's wearing a pair of overalls, and he is a short dwarf man. He has like a little stick-like prodder thing in his hand, and he has a long yellow beard. And on his head, he's just got this straw hat covering his hair. Who you got here, mate? Well, I brought some guys. They want to know about our troubles where produce is not coming in. Huh. Alright, well, you guys can walk in and we'll talk about this. It's apparently all the rage right now. The buck-toothed bald guy kind of nods at you guys, motions for you and Jacklaw to come to the door, and he turns around and starts walking back.
Alright. So what seems to be the problem?
Well, why don't you two have a seat? I think before we get into this, I'd like to see who you people are. We get a lot of people in here, and if I just go telling every single one of them all my business, we wouldn't have this great place that we have today.
Alright.
Jeklar sits down at a small little table in the center of the room. This looks like a really homely plum, even got like a little makeshift fireplace in one spot. And as you can tell, he definitely has been picking at the walls and eating little pieces of plum from them. Almost like when you see like the popcorn type ceiling just kind of whittle its way off or fall off when somebody stomps. You can tell it's got missing pieces for sure. So, what are you guys' name?
Well, I am Oromis, and this is Jeklar.
Jeklar kind of waves his hand like, hey. Oromis and Jeklar. Those are some fancy names. What's with the get-up, Jeklar? This was just simply a job I used to have. That's an interesting job. I feel like you could show me some real funny stuff, and I'm out here farming all the time. I could really use some humor.
Yeah, Jeklar, tell a joke.
Jeklar kind of looks at you and kind of rolls his eyes in a nervous manner. Well, two dwarfs walk into a bar. All right, that's enough. I don't want to hear this. Let's just get back to the matter. So, I don't really know too much about you, but I don't think I'm going to be up for this humor. So let's just get down to business. We have had some very suspicious activity. I once was related to the man who started this. This was just a little farm at one point. And, by the time my mother had been born and her family had been started, this was already a massive place. I'm talking, maybe not quite the size. That carrot's one of our biggest buildings out there, and that thing's hundreds of feet tall. So I'd say at this point, things are probably about half that size. And it's not just the produce that seems to grow large. We have recently discovered that it is enlarging everything around here. We have had some sort of giant creatures eating off of our homes in the middle of the night. That's not very beneficial to us at all. Just because nothing seems to ever wilt or wear doesn't mean we're not vulnerable to that. So we've got a big problem going on around here.
So everything's being pretty much cut in half. You're pretty much having a shortage.
Yes, we certainly can't spare the kind of produce we could before when we're losing even our homes, The crops we do have for just selling and eating, those are going missing. It's to the point our houses, just this morning, old Jimmy, his whole potato house, the back half is gone. You could look right in his bedroom. You should have seen the thing Martha was wearing this morning.
So you think something is eating your crops?
Absolutely. Crops, home, all of it. We got to do something. He looks down at the longsword in your bag, or wherever where would you keep your longsword? Hilted, I guess, on the side?
Yeah, on the hip.
He eyes down at your longsword. You think you know how to use that thing?
Oh, very well.
Perhaps maybe you could help us find out the source. Maybe if we could potentially find like a nest or something for these creatures that have been coming, you could take out the whole nest. Maybe the two of you. And then he kind of looks at Jeklar again and looks over his outfit. Well, maybe something could be done. I don't know who's gonna do it, but hopefully you guys could step up for us. We can make it worth their while.
I would like to try and get a new outfit if possible. For me and my friend here.
Oh, an outfit, you say? We have quite the excellent tailor in town. And the funny part of it, his name is Taylor, so we like to call him Taylor, the Tailor of Tailors. Some
light armor, perhaps?
Light armor? Yeah, tell you what. I'll see if I can't walk you over to his house. You know, it's a slow day, you know, potatoes falling and whatnot. He's probably not working. Let's take a trip outside. The man leads you outside, and y'all continue up the path a little bit, and y'all come to a giant strawberry. But as you take a look at this, you can see the outside has string all around it, like under the seeds, all of it. And there's just different clothing hanging from it, all kinds of stuff. Nothing necessarily metal, but a lot of colorful clothes for sure. He walks up to the front of the strawberry and he steps on a pressure plate in front of it, and basically a little piece of the strawberry seems to fall out of place, almost like if it was cut and pushed back up. And he begins walking inside. As you guys enter, this entire room just has clothes all over the place and so much different kinds of fruit. I'm talking, you can see smashed banana all over the wall. You would really think somebody was just taking a fruit basket and painting with the mush of it. And suddenly, from the back side of the room, you can see like a spiral staircase almost hidden behind a lot of these clothes. And down comes this really, really short man. He is so tiny, tinier than a dwarf even, that led you here. He has a long white beard and a pointy green hat and quite the nose that is very memorable. As he steps into the room, you realize this man is a gnome. He takes a look at the farmer and he takes a look at you in Jeklar and he says, so you need some clothes? You need some clothes? I have no idea how gnomes sound, just for the record.
You're good, man.
The dwarf looks over at him. Hey, I brought these two guys here. This one over here, his name's Oromis, and he says he wants some light armor. What kind light? What kind of light armor? I make you all kinds of light armor. He quickly sticks his hands in his pocket and pulls out a sewing needle from one and a ball of yarn from the other. You want like light blue? Light yellow?
Light armor, like hide, leather.
He scratches his chin. I might have the thing for you. I'll be right back. And he turns around and he runs upstairs, and you know, you can kind of hear a pitter patter as he walks real fast. His tiny little footsteps. The dwarf turns back to you. He says, well, I think you'll be in good hands here. I'll let you guys finish this, and you guys should meet me over by the potato house that you passed by to get to mine. Not to be confused with the redskin potato house shortly up the road. Don't go there. And we don't really like them redskin potato friends. He turns and begins walking towards the door, and you can hear a lot of the pitter-pattering upstairs still. Suddenly, you hear it coming downstairs. I found it! I found it! And then you hear a loud boom, and then a tumble. And as you see the man rolling down the steps, and he kind of rolls down the little spiral and lands on his back on the floor. He kind of blinks. He says, oh, and then he stands up real quick, and he raises his right arm. You can tell it is a leather outfit, but it seems to be almost made out of bananas. It's very yellow. He definitely went with the light yellow for you. He stands up and points it at you. This good armor, this light.
What's the armor class on this thing, man?
He kind of eyes it down. He looks at you. This probably give you like at least one extra defense. Hey, and it comes good price. It's cheap. I make almost at the bananas. I give you $10 right now. 10 gold.
Alright, I kind of want this banana armor. Alright, so I'm gonna try and hit him with a persuasion check to cock him down to 5 gold.
Alright, roll that 24. Actually, say something to him. I'm curious what you would try and say.
Perhaps 5 gold, and I'll take this banana man suit.
Alright, roll it. Let's see.
6.
You got a 6?
Yeah, plus 1, that's a 7.
He looks at you and then looks at it again. Do 8. 8 gold. We make deal.
Alright, 8 gold it is. And that would bring me down to 43 gold pieces.
Right on. So he hands it over to you. Try it on. I must see.
I hand it to Jeklar.
Jeklar looks it up and down. You bought me a banana suit?
Yeah.
He shrugs and begins taking off his jester outfit. And within another moment, he is dressed in this. And oddly enough, for a banana suit, this thing looks pretty cool. The shoulder blades are basically arched bananas. So like the curve of the banana goes down the shoulder, right? And the collar of it is also a banana, but it's got like a real slick look to it. The shoes are basically arched up. These kind of look a little goofy, but for the time period, it's fitting. The arch goes up like pointed shoes. Jeklar's feeling himself, he's never been much of a banana man, but he's BANANANAN right now.
Hell yeah, did it give him more armor than his jester outfit?
Yes, it actually does add 1 additional AC.
Alright, now we need something for my dude.
Jeklar looks down. You really bought this for me? You don't want this?
Yes, I'm sure, Jeklar. I'd be caught dead in a banana suit.
He shrugs and starts packing up his jester outfit and putting it in the bag. I had no clue this was where this was going tonight.
Alright, so I picture my dude in like a blue light wizard robe, and I'm kind of trying to change that. So
what you want? I make many colors.
Awesome. I'm about to do like a little metagaming here, because like the robes that Lucian LeChance were in like the Elder Scrolls.
I don't, but I can look it up. You said Lucian LeChance?
Yeah, that's from the Dark Brotherhood.
I recognize the Oh yeah, okay. That's a pretty. I remember that. All right, so yeah, I got the visual. What's up with it?
Yeah, that's the kind of robes that I'm trying to get from this dude. Something kind of like that.
Okay, so you express your desires to this gnome, and he scratches his chin for a moment, and he runs his little needle and thread through his beard. I'll be right back. And he pitter-patters upstairs one more time. Jeklar's just over in the corner, kind of checking himself out, and he says, "Hey, you know what'd be a really cool weapon to go with this? Some sort of like battering ram, but fashioned to look like a banana, and we call it Banana Ram."
No.
And after Jeklar says that, you hear the pitter-patter coming down. He's like, I got it. I know it. First off, did you have a color preference real quick?
It's kind of blackish in color.
He comes running downstairs, and in his hand, he is holding a long black robe. You can see it's got a little bit of a shine to different parts of it, and it's got ridges almost. And he walks up to you and goes to hand it to you. As you would take it, you see that the ridges are very similar, or they at least resemble like the bumps from a blackberry.
Sounds dope.
You try on.
Alright.
You do that little Sim shower curtain thing, and suddenly you're changed into it, and you're looking very intimidating, and that also does give you +1 to your armor class.
So now my armor class is a 13.
You like?
Oh yeah, I like.
He sticks his hand out. 10 gold.
5 gold and 7 silver pieces.
How many silver pieces do you actually have?
16.
He scratches his chin. And you said 5 gold and 7 silver?
Yeah.
Roll a persuasion again?
Alright. Woohoo, 19. Plus 1, so 20.
So dirty 20, alright. He looks at you and he goes, yeah, okay. So that is going to be minus another 5 gold pieces. And I'm keeping, what I'm doing is whenever you get stuff like that or lose gold or gain stuff, I'm making a note of it, and then I have a back side of the page where I write specifically what you'll have, so at the end of the session we can just update it through there. Alright, and so minus 7 silver pieces. Alright, so you and Jeklar are decked out in some Fruit of the Loom's clothing now.
Oh, what's this robe called? Just curious.
Let's call it, well, do you have any names in mind? I think it should involve Blackberry in the title. I was thinking something more like Blackberry Cloak or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Blackberry Cloak. That sounds dope.
All right, and
sounds like a phone.
All right, so what should we label the banana?
Banana Man armor.
Banana Man armor?
Yeah.
What's a memory? Now, we'll go Banana Man armor. That's pretty straightforward. I was trying to make it punny, but I can't think of banana, savannah. I don't know. Don't worry about it. So, Banana Man armor and Blackberry Cloak. Badass. So, he happily takes your money, and then he lets out a hoo-hoo-hee. These so cheap for me to make. Come back anytime. And then Jeklar kind of stands up and takes that as a hint to walk towards your door.
So now we gotta go meet this man at the potato house, but not the red potato house. Where is potato house? We gotta go potato house.
Alright, so you and Jeklar make your way back. Y'all pass past the plum house that belonged to the dwarf, and you quickly make your way back to a potato house, and as you're coming back this way, you can see the holes in it even more. You can see straight inside. You can see a bed. You can definitely tell these are little sets of teeth all around it. And in front of this building, now there is only 3 people. There are 2 people that appear to look mostly like humans, and then there is the dwarf standing beside them. And they're all just kind of looking at the damage.
So we walk up to them and I go, so what do we have here?
The male human is a male and female, and then the male dwarf. The male human guy, he turns to you. They ate my house. My house. And the dwarf kind of pats him on the back. He says, it's okay. We're going to get to the bottom of this. And then he looks over at you guys and sees your new outfits, and he, oh, I see Taylor the Taylor hooked you up.
Oh yeah, these are some nice threads.
The woman, she turns away, and you can tell she's wiping her eyes, and she says, I think I need a little privacy. I'm gonna go inside. And as she walks inside, the dwarf kind of shakes his head. Poor Martha. And then you see her walk through, and you can see her through the hole, and she sits on the bed and starts crying. And then the man's like, I thought she knew that we could see her.
So what ate your house, man? What ate your house?
He shakes his head. I have no idea. We were sleeping, and I woke up, and half of the village was just staring inside at me. I was in my bloomers, you know. I'm just glad I had chopped the firewood already for the morning. But I have no idea, but I can definitely tell you they put some big holes in here. The dwarf grabs at his shoulder. I think these men here will be quite the help for this. You said you saw something this morning when you woke up, right? Aside from your neighbor staring in. The man nods his head. In the distance behind the crowd, I could see some sort of creature, and it was going off in the distance. I could potentially show you where it went, but I don't know how well this will work out. It looked massive.
Let's go see.
Alright. Yeah, the four of you guys turn and start walking, and you're walking past all kinds of different buildings or fruit buildings, and as you're walking, you do see a giant apple, and they have a cross carved into the top of it. And Jekyll stops dead in his tracks, and the other two men stop. Hey, what's wrong, Banana Man? Jekyll turns. I haven't been to a church in quite a long time. He looks over to you. I feel like I have to go in here. I need to make things right. You've given me a new perspective. I think maybe this is where I need to be right now.
Well, go on ahead, Jekyll. I'll come back for you.
He nods. Be safe, my friend. And then he turns and starts walking over there. The dwarf looks over to the human. He says, what if that wasn't a church? What if he didn't know? He was just making assumptions on the cross. What if that was like a woman's changing room?
It's the church, right?
It is the church, but...
I was actually seriously asking that.
Yeah, it's the church. The human guy says, look, I don't have time for jokes, man. I mean, I'm not even going to be able to run my air conditioner today, okay? I can't. The light bill's going to be crazy. Let's just get this done. The dwarf kind of chuckles, and then y'all continue going further. After passing a few more different types of vegetable buildings, you see a giant leek that looks like they probably use it as like somewhat of a lighthouse. And as y'all go a little bit past that, you can see a bunch of the bushes on the side of the road are pressed down as if something like, almost as like somebody had drove a carriage through it. And the guy stops and he sticks his hand right out and he says, that's where I saw it go. I'm pretty sure this is it, and that was probably why everything's knocked down. The dwarf nods his head. Alright, adventurer. Are you sure you're up for this?
Yeah, I'm up for it. But we're not going to fight it today. We'll come back later. Show me what we're dealing with.
You're not going to go now? I kind of thought that's what we walked all this way for.
Okay then. I guess we'll fight it today. Let's go.
Maybe you just follow the path and see where it takes you. Maybe if you feel you're not ready for a fight, you just keep a safe distance and track these things.
That was my original plan.
He nods. Well, I'll let you be off, and I'll be back at the Plum House. The human kind of shakes his head, kind of still disappointed about his whole morning, and they both turn and start walking off in the distance, and you are now alone at this clearing.
Alright, so I'm gonna start approaching everything cautiously at this point. So I'm gonna be in like a sneaking type mode.
Alright.
And I like to follow the path of this creature that's been knocking everything down.
Just for the record, I had wrote that you had 11 health yesterday, but we have now determined that you have, what was it, 15?
Yeah.
Okay, so you did have 1 damage you took in the wolf fight, so you're technically at 14, okay?
Alrighty.
So you just start traveling this little clearing, and after a certain point, it seems to almost stop, and then just all the woods around are back to lifted, and you really, at the moment, don't see where the trail could have went.
Is there anything around that I can see? Perception check?
Yes.
13.
13, and that's +4, so that should put you at 17, correct?
Yep.
Alright. Upon further inspection, you see like a slime remnants up the side of this massive tree. Your character can quickly put together that whatever this was that came through here began to climb the tree and left a lot of like whatever this sticky substance is.
Alright, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'd like to look up into this tree with my dark vision, which goes up to 60 feet. How tall is this tree? Just curious.
Oh, this tree is so massive. This is one of those trees that's like 40 feet wide itself. You really can't even look up to the top of it.
So I really don't have a chance of setting this motherfucker on fire at all, do I? Okay.
But as you do look up, you can see a whole lot of broken branches, and you can see that these branches kind of go into the other trees. As your eyes follow where the broken branches are, you can see up about 30 feet away where it dropped into the middle of a big brush clearing, like where the broken branches have fallen down into it, which would more than likely lead you to believe that's where the path of it went.
Alright, well, I guess I'll take this path. Let's see what's further ahead.
As you get to this little clearing where it went down, you can see the sticky substance all over the ground. You can't really tell what the sticky substance is, but you can see at about 40 feet away, there's a dip in the ground where it's almost a hill, and that's where it's going still.
Alright, let's go toward this dip in the hill.
I'd say you've probably been following this little trail for at least 40-50 minutes, alright? And as you step down onto the dip, directly down below you, you can see one of the biggest beetle, well, the very biggest beetle you have ever seen in your life. It is just a common beetle that has grown to a monstrous size, so it does not have exact specifications. But let's say this thing probably stands, I'm trying to think of something to compare it to.
It's about the size of a human?
Nah, it's bigger than that for sure.
Oh shit, I need to start running.
Well, think of like the length of maybe a crocodile, and that would be its like the width of it probably.
Yeah, I can picture this motherfucker being pretty damn big. About the size of a truck.
As soon as you step onto this thing, the beetle's head kind of looks up at you, and you can see its antennas start flicking a lot, as if it has just smelled you.
I'm going to run.
Alright, you gonna like turn around and run, or what you thinking?
Yeah, turn around and run back the way I came, I guess.
Alright.
Or back where I came. It's flat.
Alright, give me a dex check.
Alright.
We're actually gonna call that probably no, we'll go acrobatics for that one.
Oh god. I rolled a 1.
Oh my god. So immediately, as you turn around to start running, you fall straight on the ground. There just happened to be a big puddle of this sticky stuff, and you fall directly into it, and all you can smell is peach. It is so strong, and this is now all over you. Before you can stand up, this beetle is right behind you. You quickly stand up, and I'm gonna need you to roll for initiative.
It's a 10, right?
Yeah.
I rolled a 6, and I get +2 initiative.
So that will put you going first. So this beetle is now standing directly in front of you, and its eyes are just beaming down. It's covered in whatever this sticky peach-like substance it is.
So this creature is hostile, it's not friendly, right?
I'm gonna say it is hostile.
Okay. Firebolt it is, right in his fucking face.
Alright. So roll, I guess you do have to see if you hit. Roll for that. I'll eventually get the rolls down.
I rolled 15.
Alright, that is going to be a hit. And you're right in this thing's face, so I'm gonna allow you to roll an extra damage on it. So with you roll a 1d10, but I'll allow you to roll a 1d4 on top of that.
Well, 5 on the D10 and 2 on the 4.
As the fireball shoots directly in its face. Actually, don't you get a doesn't have to roll to see if it stays on fire. Flammable object hit by this spell ignites if it isn't being worn or carried.
What's this thing that says +4 hit DC? or +4 spell attack.
So DC is difficulty class. So when so you rolled a 15, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you needed a 13 to hit this bug. Your 15 would be a 19, I believe, instead.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that seems to make the most sense to me.
Okay, that sounds fair.
You hit this thing directly with the fire, and it basically rolls backwards down this hill. It kind of hops back onto its feet, and it immediately turns and starts running from you. And this thing's moving fast. This thing can move it's only moving about 30 feet every couple of seconds, but it's still going pretty fast, as this thing itself is probably 10 feet, big, at least.
About the size of Tony's truck.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I could see that. That's a good way to compare a truck.
That thing's huge. But I blasted it with fire and now it's running and I need to get back to town.
So you want to just make your way back there then?
Yeah. I need to go check on Jacklar, pick him up, and then tell the townsfolk they're being raided by big bugs.
Alright. So you pretty much make your way back there with not too many issues, but it is getting pretty dark at nighttime. It was already a little bit dark, let's just say 7 p.m. when you had made it to the town in the first place, and y'all have done some traveling at this point. So I'm going to say it's 9 or so at night at the earliest by the time you get back. And at this point, there's not really many people outside. You can see a lot of red light in the distance on the other side of town, though. But you're coming back out where you're close to the Plum House and all those ones. I wish I had made them. I probably should make a map for this town, actually. I'll get you that later.
Yeah, that would definitely help. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this church-like place where Jacklar would be at and go check up on him.
As you approach it, you can hear a whimpering inside. And as you open this wooden apple door, you see pews on both sides and a large cross in the middle, and the entire wall line all the way aside from the door, in a complete circle, is just lit up with candles all around. Jacklar is on his knees on the floor, and this man with white hair and a simple blue robe has his hand on Jacklar's forehead, and Jacklar is the one making this whimpering sound. You can immediately see Jacklar is quite emotional right now.
I guess I'll sit in the pew and wait, the back pew.
The man is still chanting something as he holds Jacklar's forehead. It's not really very clear what he's talking about. It's just some sort of prayer, basically. And it's not really in the language you recognize, I believe. Let's see what your languages are.
I can just picture Jacklar in his banana man suit on his knees praying.
I forgot about the banana man suit already. Oh, jeez. Common, deep speech, draconic. Wow, that's a good one. Elf and goblin. Okay. So you do not really understand what this man is saying, but within a few more moments of doing this, he finally pulls his hand off of Jacklar real suddenly, and Jacklar stands up, tears streaming down his banana man suit. He wipes his eyes and he raises both hands up as if he was celebrating the gospel, and he begins to just he's standing up, but he's bowing over and over like he's praising. You could hear him whisper something to himself about forgiveness and right and wrong, and he kind of lays down on the floor and starts praying again. And this man in the blue simple robe and white hair, he walks over towards you, and he sits right beside you on the pew, and he puts his arm beside you. Do you seek praisal too?
Oh no, I'm good. I'm just here for my friend.
He nods and looks over at Jacklar. He is going through a lot right now. I think he may still need some more time. I know you two were not from here, and I will let you rest at my place if you need a place to sleep tonight.
Sounds like a plan, man. I don't want to pay for an inn.
He stands up and he extends a hand out to you. Come with me and I will take you now, as your friend shall be here for quite the night.
Alright, let's go.
Alright, so this man takes you outside and y'all do some walking around these little paths, you're just seeing all kinds of fruit. Finally, you make it to a... Toss me a vegetable or fruit that you got in mind. Let's see if that's what he lives in.
A tomato.
A tomato, alright? He walks up to the tomato and he puts his hand on the front of it. There seems to be no door, but he says something low under his breath, and you can see as part of the tomato just begins to wither away just wide enough for a doorway. And he walks in, and inside, as you follow behind him, it looks like a very simple man's home. There's a bed directly across from the doorway you walked in. Beside it, there is a little nightstand, and all it has on it is a candle, some sort of book, and a little quill, like a pen. Aside from that, you just see a little area on the other side of the room where it's just a table with some random produce on it, and that's about the gist of this house. There is a chair directly to the right of the door as you step in. He turns around to you. This is my humble abode. It's not much, but you may have my bed for the night and rest up.
Alright, well, that sounds like a plan. Time for my dude to get some sleep. He's had a long day. Wolves, big beetles and shit.
Alright, he sits in the chair and then you fall asleep. While you're asleep, you start having these really intense nightmares for some reason. It comes in quick flashes. You just see this woman, and you've never seen this woman, and the details go by so fast it's hard for you even to register them, but you see the woman's face, and as it flickers in front of you, you can see her eyes slowly turning a black with each look. Her skin turns more pale each time as it flashes, and then suddenly it's like her skin starts cracking, and then you wake up, and you're sitting up in the bed covered in sweat, and the man is not in the room with you.
So it might have something to do with that blood rain token? Is it possible I can do like a little check on it or something?
You could try an Arcana check.
Alright, that sounds good. How do I do that?
Just roll a 20 and then add 4.
16 plus 4.
Well, a dirty 20. As you try to investigate it, you can feel the magic off this blood rain token basically pulsing through you, but it slowly fades away, and that's really all you can tell. So it does give you some sort of clarity of where this sudden nightmare and image came from, but that's all you can really tell off of that.
Well, time for my dude to catch him some Z's, go back to sleep.
You go to sleep and you wake up nice and bright in the morning. As you look up, you can kind of feel real warmth. There is a gaping hole where the man had opened the tomato door, but it is not the same as the hole that was there before. This is clearly a big bite mark out of it.
Oh damn, it came back. So, is this man in sight where I can go talk to him?
No, but you don't really see anybody. As you look outside, you can see a lot of people around, just a bunch of random faces, and they're looking around at buildings, checking out the damage. The tomato house is not the only one affected. Several other places have small bites and stuff.
Okay, so if there's a crowd of people, I want to go to the crowd of people.
As you approach closer, you see the dwarf man in this group, and he starts exiting the group and walking over to you. Hey, I wasn't sure if you were coming back or not. I hadn't realized you made it to town. What did you find out?
Your town's being invaded by beetles. Gigantic fucking beetles.
That does seem pretty likely. Perhaps you did you track where they come from?
I set one on fire and it ran from me, but I ran back to town myself. They might burrow in the ground.
He nods his head. I'm not sure. I don't know how many more nights of this we could take. We have to do something about this.
Well, I would assume we need to find their nest. Kill the queen.
He nods. I think that is a very good idea. Perhaps you and your friend would be able to do this task for us.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to. It's our quest.
He nods. I hadn't seen your friend since last night. I never saw him exit the church. I did hear he seemed to be going through some stuff. It kind of got awkward when I was walking past and I saw him through there and he was just crying. So I went home. I wasn't about that. I don't know what to do with that kind of thing.
He's just having a breakthrough.
He nods. Well, I guess a church is a place to do that, isn't it?
Guess it's time to go see Jacklar now.
He nods and he begins leading you towards the church. As you start getting closer, the doors kind of open and all the candlelight shines through it. Jacklar begins walking out as a proud banana man, arms to his side. He's looking high up to the sky and rubbing his chest kinda. You can tell he's a new man today.
He's a banana man.
He steps down the steps or whatever in front of it, and he walks up to you. And the dwarf kind of turns his head away. As you can tell, he still feels a bit awkward about seeing him cry, because that's not his forte. And Jacklar looks at you. How was your night?
Well, set a big old beetle on fire and ran away. Could have used your help, but here we are.
He kind of, like his eyes extend a little bit. A big beetle? Huh. First we have big trees, then we have big fruit, and now big beetles. This definitely seems to be some sort of enhancement on the land.
Oh, it's clearly magical. This is clearly abnormal.
And then the dwarf kind of turns his head. Magic. And he scratches his chin. You know, I used to hear about a lot of witchy type stuff happening before this was ever Produce Village. Before it was even farmlands. I wonder if somehow that could be inquired about to deal with this. Jacklar turns to you. And last night, you went searching while I was in the church, right?
Yes, that's when I encountered the beetle.
He nods. Well, I say maybe you and me should reventure these trails and see what we can find.
That was my plan exactly.
He nods, and then the dwarf nods, and the dwarf looks at you and he says, all right, you guys be on your way, and I will see you shortly, hopefully. And he turns and begins walking off the distance. Jacklar nods, checks out his banana outfit one more time, and he says, let us go. I'm feeling like quite the yellow mellow fellow.
Let's go.
Alright, so you guys begin going back in this path. Y'all make y'all's way pretty much to where you had failed trying to run. And as you look down the hill, you no longer see the beetle, but you can see the sticky peach-like stuff all over, and it's a clear path through the woods if you continue following it. I'm assuming you do, correct?
Yes.
Alright. And y'all follow this path for another 20 minutes, just taking all kinds of turns and just going real deep into this forest, right? As you step through a little bush that you could tell it went through, on the opposite side, you see two giant beetles, but these ones don't appear to be very similar to the other one. While the other one was just like your typical beetle aside from giant, these two beetles have red that shines very brightly off them, so much that if this was nighttime, it would light up this area at least within the 20-foot radius. And these beetles are basically just standing there, and they seem to be picking at some of the sticky stuff on the ground. And one of them looks up and notices you and Jacklar.
I'm not sure if these are hostile or friendly, Jacklar. What do you think we should do? He's eyeballing me.
He grabs at his quarterstaff. I think if these are causing the issues, we better remove them. And I would like us all to roll for initiative now.
Alright. I rolled a 3 plus 2.
One of the beetles is going to go first.
Alright.
As this beetle takes notice of you and Jacklar pulls out his weapon, the beetle immediately becomes lunging at Jacklar, and he's opened his mouth really wide. He's about to try and attack. Also, by the way, Jacklar was healed in his night in the church, just for the record. But this beetle does hit him, and it jumps right next to him and begins biting into his arm. So Jeklar takes 3 damage.
Probably not a good idea. We're dressed as fruit and whatnot.
Oh, wait a second. I forgot my armor class is 1+1 more. Oh, well, either way, he still hit me anyway. He takes 4 damage. Jeklar quickly jumps back, and it's his turn now, so he's going to try and jab right in this thing's face with his quarterstaff. Jeklar rolled a 12, and he gets +2 because of his proficiency bonus, and that is a hit. So Jeklar rolls a 1d8. Jeklar hits it for 7 damage, and as soon as his quarterstaff hits in this face, it crushes its little eyeballs and mouth in. I mean, it had a big eyeball and mouth and everything, but they still got them like beady, creepy eyes, you know? This creature immediately falls down, and as that one falls down to the ground, you can see another one approaching behind the second one that was there in the first place. So there was originally 2, and now there's 2 again because one died, but there's another one.
So there's 3 of them.
Yeah, but one of the one Jeklar hit, he killed.
Alright, so is it my turn now?
It is your turn.
Alright, so I'm gonna whop this freaking other beetle that's, I guess, close to me. Is it close to me? How far?
I'd say it's probably 15 or so feet away.
Alright, so I'm gonna whop this thing with the quarterstaff.
Alright.
Ooh, I've just been rolling 19s all night, huh?
So is that a natural 19 and then with your +2?
Yeah, it's a natural 19.
Alright, so that puts you at
I have
21.
0 to strength.
Alright, well that is going to be a hit. So you're using your quarterstaff, I believe. So roll a 1d8.
A 2.
A 2. Alright. As you hit this thing, well, how did you choose to hit it? Were you swinging or thrusting towards it?
Swinging.
You swing and you hit it across the side of its like front, like almost near its face, but it's a little off. It lunges back and makes a little like a sound, and it immediately begins to attack at you. What's your armor class? You should be now what, like 13?
Yeah, 13.
Alright, so it does hit on you. Alright, and you take 1 damage.
Alright, so I'm at 14.
Alright, and then quickly this other one darts over towards Jeklar and attempts to attack Jeklar. Oh, it hit the fuck out of Jeklar. It quickly bites right onto the side of his torso. Jeklar takes 5 damage. Jeklar kind of lunges over to his side, and he quickly takes his quarterstaff as it is his turn again, and he goes to swing right down on top of it as it bit his side. He did not hit. The pain was too agonizing, and he swung right past the side of it, and it is now your turn.
I'm at the firebolt this one that's on Jeklar.
Alright.
So D20 plus 4. Alright.
Yeah.
I rolled a 6, so that's 10.
Unfortunately, that is not going to hit. You shoot it, but it whirls right over his head, and that you shooting that fireball catches the attention of this other beetle that had been the one that I think you would hit in the first place or something. Yeah, the one you would just hit a moment ago. And it is going to lunge at you for a bite, and it misses. I think the firebolt had just had it a little too intimidated, and it jumps right past you, and when it lands on the ground, it kind of the ground shakes a little bit just to kind of give you a sense of how heavy these things are. And then the one biting Jeklar's side is going to go for another bite on Jeklar. That rolls a 15, and that will hit Jeklar again.
It's not looking good for Jeklar.
Oddly enough, though, as it bites Jeklar, it's almost as if it put no strength into its bite, and Jeklar takes no damage, and that puts it back to Jeklar's turn. For clarification, you roll a 1d6, and then you do -1, and he rolled a 1, so I guess that just means no damage, I guess. It just kind of licks his side. Just needed a little flavor. So Jeklar is now going to... Actually, give me 1 sec to check something, actually. Oh, also, I'm looking at your spell thing, and it says you have 3 slots. So you should be able to use 3 spells, I'm thinking, according to your sheet. So you have 2 more spells since you already used Fireball. But Jeklar is going to use... Nah, I think he's just going to take another real, good swing down with his quarterstaff. And he misses once again. He just, he's got too much going on. The one just tried to attack him. It did attack him, but it licked him. The other one's still right there on his side. He's not got a lot of swinging room. And that puts it to your turn.
Well, I'm going to cast Firebolt on the one closest to me.
Alright.
D20. Wow, 19 again. Hell yeah.
What was that, 4 19s in a row? No, you didn't get a low row last time.
Yeah, that shit, it's funny because, it'll look like it's going to roll on a low number and then it just turns its side over like an angel. Tap that bitch.
Alright, so you can roll your 1d10 damage die. And now, wait, are you attacking the one that you hit before?
Yeah, the one that's closest to me that hit me for 1 damage.
Okay, yeah.
You said a D10?
Yeah.
Alright. And that is a 0? What the fuck?
So a 0 on a D10 would represent the highest number, I think. So a 10, I guess.
Yeah, it says 10 on the side, but I was confused. It says 0 and a 10. I was like, what?
Well, alright. So as you hit this thing, it immediately bursts into flames, and you hear a loud "Eeeeee!" and then it just drops to the ground and the fire burns on. And the other one, seeing this, quickly releases at Jeklar's side and goes to attack you. He jumps right past you. Something about the fire sketched him out, I guess. He misses you, and that puts it to Jeklar's turn again, who is going to try and take another swing at this bad boy. Oh yeah, he hits it finally. He hits this motherfucker. So as it jumps at you, he comes up behind it, and he's only going to use his right hand because his left side got pretty fucked up. So he's going to swing it one-handed down at the back of this thing, and he is going to do 8 damage. So the moment he swings this thing's legs collapse under it, and it starts to let out another one of those sounds, but Jeklar just continues hitting it and hitting it and hitting it out of anger. We are no longer in a fight.
Hell yeah.
And I marked down that each of those bugs, those were called giant fire beetles, and they provided 10 XP apiece.
Hell yeah, so that's what, 40?
30. As Jeklar continues swinging down on this thing, you hear a, "Hey, what's going on here?" And the dwarf steps out of a clearing looking very confused.
We just got into a fight with some big fucking beetles, man. Where were you?
He looks down at the beetles, and he's kind of astonished. "I was looking for you guys. I could see these bright red lights coming from here, and I figured that was you guys having a fire. I had no idea these beetles lit up like that."
Yeah, that is awfully strange. They look like lightning bugs, but bigger.
He begins walking up to the one of the beetles, and he pulls out a knife, and he quickly stabs it around the part that's glowing, and he starts carving it out. Jeklar drops his quarterstaff for a second, and he starts breathing real heavy from swinging time and time again. I did not expect to get my ass beat by a bunch of fire beetles today.
We can go back and rest if you want to, Jeklar.
He leans up and he watches as the dwarf finish cutting out this big red thing, and he pulls it out. "You guys see this? This will make a great lamp. This will probably burn for a few days at least, I'd like to think. I've never really had one of these, but I feel like I saw this in a book before." but it was much smaller. So I'm thinking if a little beetle lasts for like an hour, a giant one's gotta last at least 10 times that, right?
Probably.
He nods and Jekyll pulls himself together, starts rubbing on his side, just trying to assess the damage. The guy quickly starts strapping the red thing to the bottom of his knife thing. Who needs a torch?
So, is it possible I could do like a little magic check or something on like one of these dead beetles?
Yeah, you can roll an Arcana check. Let me make sure that's how Arcana works. Let me click on it and see. Your intelligence check measures your ability to recall lore about spells, magic items, eldritch symbols, magical traditions, the planes of existence, and the inhabitants of those planes. So, I guess essentially, yeah, I guess that would work.
It's gay. Well, I rolled a 2 plus 4.
Well, you were just trying to see what you could detect magically.
Yeah.
You get a hint of it, of a magic essence from it, but it honestly doesn't seem much different from anything around you. It seems there's at least a little bit of magic coming from the ground all around you, really. Not particularly just this beetle.
Alright, well, I guess since Jekyll is pretty beat up, we're going to go back to rest for a while. And then could try it again the next day.
Alright. So we'll just say, along with the assistance of this dwarf, you guys make it all the way back to town. And the dwarf allows you guys to stay in his plum house with you for the night. And with that being said, I think maybe we should go ahead and call it there. Alright. I'll see if I can't put together a map of this little village at least.
Oh yeah, that would definitely help.
I'm just imagining it all in my head, so... Did you note down anything from tonight, such as like the increase in the armor class? I definitely am going to write down the banana thing now.
Oh yeah, I've marked down the blackberry cloak. My armor class is 13, the 30 experience. I changed my spell slots from 2 to 3. My gold and my silver, I have 38 gold, 9 silver.
Alright. If you'd like to go ahead and update your sheet, you can. If not, we can do it before we play again next time. But basically, I think all you'd have to do is the armor, I guess, and your experience in gold on the sheet, right?
Yeah.
Alright, well, not bad at all.